What is the crack, everyone? It's Nathan here, aka the Rambling Kern, and head instructor of Kern School of Combat. So today's video is all about Irish swords, including these types right here. Now, if you are interested in learning more about Irish martial arts or want to try a class in person, you can join my Patreon for as little as €2 a month, or you can join my classes in person in Dublin. If you haven't, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Now, this video is all about Irish swords. There's kind of three distinct groups we're going to look at. If you're interested in learning more about them, or you want to see me testing out this sword right here, I'm going to do a video in the upcoming weeks all about it. Make sure to follow along to see more of that. Now, I'm going to hop onto the video. I do hope you guys enjoy it. So I'd wanted to do this video for a while, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to do it recently was that I found out that there's actually a number of smiths of various different types who actually watch this channel. So I really wanted to showcase some of the Irish sword designs that you see and the uniqueness of them. Now, I've mentioned his name in the past, but Andrew Halpin, if you're ever looking for papers on Irish weaponry during the medieval period, his is just the most amazing work. It is like the seminal text on the topic. So if you're looking for them, I will have a link to this paper in the description, but it's definitely something to go have a look at. So the conclusion that he reaches when it comes to Irish medieval swords is basically that they fall into three very distinct groups. The first, or group one, which we won't spend too much time on, is basically swords dating between the 12th to 14th centuries. These swords are generally attributed to the Anglo-Norman invasion. Some might predate it by a little bit, but most of them are generally believed to be from within this period. Now, these swords over time, obviously they develop very much how you see on the mainland, the kind of typical knightly swords with the very distinctive blade profile, getting to be much more thrusting orientated. And then the second group is one that I find very fascinating. These are 15th and 16th century swords, generally viewed in a very distinctive Scottish or Hiberno-Scottish type. If you want to look at more information on this, I'd recommend getting in touch with Paul MacDonald. He's done a few talks on it. I believe he might have a recording of some of his talks on the topic. He knows a huge amount about these blades in the context of Scotland. Really, really great bladesmith as well. But these swords are generally considered to be within that period. Some are considered to be of the end of the 16th century date, and a few of them that you'll see are from within the 15th century. Now, these swords are often called claymores. They really shouldn't be. As an aside, claymore simply means big sword. Later it becomes attributed to a certain type of sword, or a number of swords really. When we look at the Scottish weaponry, it isn't really a accurate term, as it's very much a catch-all term. However, these ones do have a very distinctive number of features, probably the most prominent being the kind of V-shaped crossguards and the very, very interesting pommels that you see on them. You see variety and you see an evolution of them, and you'll see on this slide here a very interesting evolution over time with them. Now, presumably most of these were imported and used by the Gallowglass, so most of them would be attributed to the Gallowglass, and you'll see definitely from some of the areas that they were found that, you know, it would make sense. Now, on the topic of claymores, we do have two very interesting examples. One from the Clontarf Castle. I'm not sure if that is still there or if it has been sold off, but that is the classic claymore that you would expect to see. And the other is what is often referred to as a lowland style claymore. This one is very interesting, with a very small pommel and a very interesting large crossguard with a ring crossguard, which is not something you really see in the Irish context very much. People always love to see these swords. They were still surprisingly common in Ireland. I believe there's one or two others, which if you guys want to deep dive on these, I'm more than happy to do that at some point. And actually know a few instructors who teach great swords and montante, so if you'd like to see a collaboration video with them, let me know. It's definitely something I could do. So these swords, like I say, generally pass on into the 16th century, but as time goes, they kind of develop into a very specific Scots and Scots-Irish style that you can see really attributed into Ireland. Now, obviously, there's a huge amount of cross back and forth between the two areas, but that is generally what you see. Then we have Group 3. So Group 3, for myself, I find to be the most fascinating, because Group 3 is very much a group that is really just attributed entirely to Ireland. These swords are the very, very distinctive Irish style. So the classic ring pommel. Many of them have the similar kind of cross guards, often with that S-shaped cross guards. One thing you'll notice with these, though, that these swords tend to be primarily cutting swords. They don't really have the distinctive, sharp, very acute points that you'll see on a lot of European swords at the time. This is something that's really unique and fascinating to Ireland at the period, because you're in a period where a lot of Europe and mainland Europe are moving into very thrust-centric swords, rapiers of various different types, whereas in Ireland we seem to have moved away from that. And if you look at the blade profiles on a lot of these swords, they don't look that different to swords that were coming 2, 3 or more 100 years prior to this. So it is very, very interesting to see. Now, I've done videos on this previously. It is believed that many of these blades were imported into Ireland and then reprofiled and, ground down to suit the Irish use. But it is very interesting to see that these blades really do fall into a very distinct category. Now, the 3 types of blades, the 3 classifications, these are just groupings that have been come up with by the author, Andrew Halpin. But we do see in our final grouping, when we look at the Irish blades, these are really ones that you don't see anywhere else. Very little taper on them. And I think one thing that should be said from the replica I have, now obviously it's one single replica, but one that I've tried to get as close to an original as possible, that I think some of the artwork that you see where the tips of these are extremely wide, I think is an effort to show how cut heavy or top heavy they are. We are lucky to have this example that is, or was almost completely intact, and we do actually have one that was up in auction and has since sold that was almost entirely intact, including part of the handle. So these Irish swords are absolutely fascinating. Really don't get a huge amount of attention, and they really should, because they are a very unique aspect in Irish culture. Now, I do hope you've enjoyed this. If you guys want more videos like this or more videos on this topic, please do let me know, because there is a lot of scope for videos on these. And obviously these sort of distinctive Irish blades, there's a lot to be said about them. There's not a huge amount of research on them, but there is definitely insights that can be gleaned from them. And obviously I want to do some testing videos in the future on them as well. So if you've enjoyed this, pop a comment down below and let me know what you think. So I do hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like I said, if you want to see more videos on the topic, or you want to see more about Irish swords or their history and use, please do let me know. I'll be more than happy to do videos all around it. I have some really, really exciting collaborations coming in this upcoming week. So if you're interested in swords or Irish history, it's going to be a really, really good one. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really appreciate the support. It really does mean a lot to me. Have a wonderful week or weekend. Thank you all so much, and slán.